Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Derek Eklund over here at Foundation Software, and I'd like to welcome everybody to today's webinar, which the title is Foundation's HQSuite, and I appreciate everybody taking some of their time this morning to hop on, or I guess after the fact, if you're watching a recording of this, that's good too. But the whole idea of these webinars is I like to showcase some of the additional products and features that we have to offer and kind of talk about some of the main points behind them. And it'll be more on the sales end. You know, if you do already have our HQSuite or Project HQ and you have questions, you know, this probably won't be too beneficial for you. That's where our support department would be a good good help for you. But yeah, I appreciate you guys spending some time. And today I'm going to talk about our Foundation's HQSuite, which this is a web-based project management platform that we've developed here at Foundation. Believe it or not, it's been out for about 5 years now. So it's been around. I know a lot of companies are still just finding out about it. But yeah, this is a product that's been around for a little while. And the whole idea is it allows your project management team, your operations team to be utilizing this platform while your accounting team can just stay in Foundation. They don't need to be overlapping. You don't need to have project managers logging into Foundation to look up job reports or create purchase orders or subcontracts. They're not doing that and stepping on each other's toes. You don't need to worry about certain people getting into areas that they shouldn't from a security standpoint. But at the end of the day, these two products integrate with each other. Actually, our HQSuite doesn't really work unless you have Foundation. So that's kind of one of the requisites is you'd have to have our accounting and job costing system really in order to utilize the full feature set of our HQSuite. So that's kind of the main idea. So I'll kind of go through an overview showing you some different features, different points to this. And if there's questions, I'll kind of pause at the end to kind of cover some basic questions. But if you find that you have a pretty good sized list and you might be interested in this product, by all means, feel free to reach out to us and we'd be happy to get you on a call to kind of dedicate a half hour, 45 minutes or so to kind of go through everything and from start to finish. So that being said, let me go ahead and pull up our HQSuite. So this is the home page. So as typically when somebody logs in, this is what they would see. Now that can always change depending on what features you have access to, what specific records you have access to. For example, the main setting when you get into our HQSuite is you're always able to limit what jobs people can see. So like these up here would be my most recent projects. And then next to that is a section for recent, or I can always toggle over to overdue or upcoming documents. Now I can always restrict what type of documents somebody can see. So if you have somebody that can see everything, that's easy. But if you have somebody that should just be able to see things like RFIs or different types of correspondence, you can always limit that as well. And then in the middle would be a scheduling tool, which is called Crew HQ. Actually, the whole HQSuite, I haven't talked about this. Let me kind of explain how the HQSuite is structured. So we call it the HQSuite. It's one big platform for project management software, but it's really broken down into 3 different parts, or I guess think of like 3 different modules if you're familiar with the Foundation lingo. The main part is Project HQ, that's document management. And then a second part would be Crew HQ for scheduling. So if you're looking to kind of replace that whiteboard in the office or the shop, that might be something that would be appealing to you. And then a third piece, which I'll show you too this morning, is called Executive HQ. That's a reporting tool. So that allows your project managers to run job cost reports and drill into details, see different graphs and charts, so they can just stay up to speed on with how a project is doing. So you have kind of access or limitations based on each of those products. Then it becomes at the job level, and then it becomes right down to a granular detail level where you can limit what types of specific documents people can see. But yeah, just different scheduled tasks. And then at the bottom, there's a section called action items, which are more of like an internal reminder for different tasks, internal follow-ups, I guess you can call it, maybe to different documents, or you wanted somebody to follow up with an owner on a change order. That's kind of what you're doing here. And these can always be used to trigger notifications, pop-up notifications through here, like that little bell right there, or there can always be email or text notifications that get pushed out. And then, of course, you have weather conditions right there too, just informational weather conditions. And then down the sidebar here, and this is all interactive. I don't have to go to the sidebar. I'm just going to kind of go through that to explain it. But this is all, web-based, interactive. I can point, click. It's not anything like Foundation in that regard. You don't have to go to modify, add mode, right-click, add. It's all newer technology, so much easier to use, much more intuitive. Now the toolbar down here on the left, I'm going to start with setup. Just kind of go through couple different things down below here. So setup, this is where you do establish your users and permissions. This is where you would be able to customize all of your different documents and forms. All these little boxes here represent different types of documents. Like if I go into a change order, and this is representative of all the different types of documents here in HQ. Like you can turn on and off certain fields. You can set different requirements where they would have to fill something out. You can add custom fields. And then the templates, you can always copy an existing design that we provided, or you can pull in a document through, Word or PDF to kind of merge in where the fields need to go. And then there's also the ability to kind of add in standard language, kind of like legalese if you've got, a couple pages of that after the main cover page. So yeah, full customization of documents, and then also integrations. I mentioned how this works with your Foundation system. You basically have to have Foundation in order to utilize all the different features here of the HQSuite. But this is a good list that kind of shows you all the items that will pull into HQ from your Foundation system. So jobs, customers, employees, and vendors. If you get into the equipment module, the inventory module, those items will pull into here. Cost codes, cost classes, those items can pull into here as well. So it's not like you're having to recreate, all these records here in HQ. They all pull into here. Now, just kind of starting at the bottom, kind of working up top here. Reports. This wouldn't be the executive HQ section I was referring to a little bit ago. These would be more lists and logs. So if you're looking to run an RFI log or a submittal log, those types of things. You can always run these from here. Now, you can always run them from the main project HQ area, a couple notches above. But yeah, if you needed to do these from here, of course, you can always do that too. And then above that would be a list of all of your different contacts. So just all the different people that you're dealing with across these different documents. And these are going to pull in from your Foundation system from vendors, customers, and employees, but you can always add additional ones here as well. And I guess at the top here, let me kind of talk about some of these buttons you see up top here. So keyword search, you're going to see that on most screens. That little button right there is a filter. So if you want to filter different columns or information, you can. And then next to that is the ability to run or list or a log. So those are going to be kind of three consistent buttons that you're going to see. And then I guess also create a person, create a company. There's also usually in the top corner the ability to create a document or anything like that. Now the schedule, this gets into the first of the three areas I guess we'll talk about here this morning. This would be Crew HQ. So this is a scheduling tool here in the platform. I mentioned earlier towards the beginning of the call here about how this a lot of times replaces a whiteboard in somebody's office or shop. That's the idea. Yeah, you can create Gantt charts. Yes, it will push out an email or a text notification to all the employees involved in the call or involved on the task. But yeah, the main idea is as a company, it allows you to manage project schedules. So this will give you a list of all of your different active jobs. One cool thing that HQ does is if you close a job in Foundation, it removes it from the main active list here in HQ. But the idea is, next to a particular job, if I was to just double click, let's see, today is Wednesday, I can kind of go right up on the board and kind of find that here and just double click, and then that'll pull in the job and the date. But yeah, I can always give it a description. I'll just kind of call it miscellaneous tasks for lack of my imagination, I guess. Color code, you can always attach a different color to it. Icon, of course you need a through date If you want to put in times, you can, and then the bottom half of the screen is really just informational. But if you want to put in who is it created by, scheduled by, percent complete, if you want to create different categories or tags, these can all be helpful if you're looking to filter out different tasks there. But they're probably not too impactful, I would say, on the overall schedule. But yeah, you have location, which that'll pull from the job record, but I can always override that, or even drop a pin in the map. This is where I can assign my different employees to it. And you can see Arthur's already scheduled. It lets you know. Now I can leave Arthur there and have him run around all day to both jobs, or I can say, nope, we're going to go ahead and take him off here. But yeah, this is where you can schedule employees, other contacts, which could be vendors or customers, maybe a schedule by crew, equipment items, inventory items would be material. And these are all items that pull out of your foundation system. But yeah, this is where you're assigning out your different resources. Dependency, where you can have predecessors and successors. If you needed to add custom fields, if you want to copy over cost codes from your job budget and make those your tasks, just miscellaneous notes. So yeah, those are kind of all the main features of Crew HQ. This is all interactive too. I can move things around, make a task larger, smaller, like that. I can get my double arrow. There we go. And yeah, up top, I can always run the view by employees or equipment, that way as well. So that's the idea with Crew HQ. And then the main part, kind of the star of the show here in the HQ suite, is called Project HQ. So this is kind of the main document management area where I have access to all of my jobs. I can scroll or use the search bar there. But then from here, if I was to click into a project, it then opens up kind of all the main details. And if I expand the toolbar here, this kind of gives you an idea of all the different types of documents and areas you can get into. And right off the bat on the main screen here, there's daily logs. So you can create those, you can print those, you can email those. There's an overview of the schedule. So we're just talking about Crew HQ. Here would be my most recent emails, so you can kind of see those. Different documents, action items, so again, more internal reminders, weather conditions based on the job location. So yeah, more of just kind of an overview. But yeah, down the left-hand side, this is where you get into, where you can create different action items, which you can duplicate or copy these over. You can copy most documents over. And again, you have your main filters up top here. You have the ability to run lists or logs. Now there's also AIA worksheets. Now this would be one that can actually push back into Foundation. So the idea is your project managers can create the billing from here, because traditionally they're the ones that are the ones dealing with the owners and customers. And instead of them having to do it on an Excel sheet and then hand that over to the accounting team to enter back into Foundation, you kind of knock it all out here and then push the information into Foundation. And it is a two-way sync. So if somebody in the office decided to make a change to the last application and modify it, the next time your project managers log into here, they'd see the update, see the change over on this side too. So AIA worksheets are a big one. Mention the daily logs, documents. This is where you get into RFIs and submittals. Also user-defined documents, which can be really anything that you need it to be. So blueprints, contracts, those are just examples of ones that I've created over the years. Whatever else as a team you would need from a document standpoint that doesn't already exist in Project HQ, this is where you can build that. And these areas are all similar. I mean, you can always create your own custom forms and templates and, have different requirements for different types of documents, but they're all similar. Like if I go into an RFI here, they're all going to have details, which that's where you can kind of customize the entry screens and what's required. This would basically be the information that would appear on the main document itself. But then the other sections, there's an area called correspondence, where you can manually keep track of all of the back and forth if you wanted to. There's attachments where you can store unlimited drawings, pictures, what have you, and it can be any type of document, Word, PDF, JPEG, Excel even. So unlimited storage, all different types of documents. And then the little pen right there, that means that there's a markup or an annotation. So there's a whole section of this system that you can do that with it as well. So it lets you keep track of those. You can look at history to see who has who's made any sort of changes. Of course, I can always pull this up to view or share this with other people outside my organization. So yeah, not just being able to create documents and email those out. It's you're able to store them and keep track of them as well. And then speaking of emailing them out, yeah, you can always email these documents out or these attachments out. This would integrate to Outlook or other emails. It saves a copy here, saves a copy back in your default folder as well, the main Outlook folder. So yeah, that's kind of common what you're going to see across the board for all these types of documents here. There's also punch lists. So just checklist of what is needed to be done. This one's pretty straightforward. You kind of have details where you can say who is it assigned to, who is it assigned by, kind of main requirements and due dates. And then on the items is where you can fill out all the different specific items that are out there. And then for cost management, a lot of times this is the most popular section of Project HQ because it does get into change orders. That's usually right at the top of the list for a lot of companies. Now, the first section there called budget, they kind of explain kind of the typical workflow. So you're not creating the budget in Project HQ. That's going to pull from Foundation. So I guess from a starting standpoint, you're going to continue to handle your bids and estimates wherever you currently are, if that's a third-party system or Excel or wherever. And then once that job is awarded, you create that job or import that job along with its budget information into your Foundation system. And then from there, that's going to pull into HQ here. So that's kind of where you get these first couple of columns with your cost codes, your cost classes, your original budget, original quantity, unit of measure, bid, hours. But if there's a change to any of this information, that's where you get into issuing change orders, whether it's an owner-related change order that you plan on billing for, or if it's an internal change or a forecast change order, variance change order. I know companies have all kinds of different names for those, but if you ever need to massage the numbers internally, you can always do that through here as well. And then you can also get into committed costs in this section where that consists of purchase orders and subcontracts. And all three of those, change orders, all types of change orders too, along with purchase orders and subcontracts, you can create here and then would push into Foundation. So the change order section, you essentially have two sides to it, the request or like a pending change order. So if you're dealing with an owner, you can start at the request side, create your request for change. You're coding everything out in detail, breaking out cost codes, cost classes. You have all the same ability as far as correspondence, attachments, mailbox, etc. And then from here, hopefully anyway, when it gets marked as approved, you would be able to convert that, basically roll that over from a pending or request for change over to an actual change. And then once it's an actual change, that's when you'd be able to push this into a Foundation. And if it's not an owner-related change, it's one of those internal or forecast type change orders, that's when you can just come to this side over here and create a change order. And whether it's adding dollar amounts, whether it's pulling dollar amounts, swapping them out from some cost code or cost classes, you can always do that too. So change orders are a big piece, and then underneath that, committed costs. This is where you get into your purchase orders and subcontracts. And yeah, you get some little charts and graphs. I didn't mention that, but that's also back on that change order screen too. But yeah, these are both items that can push into Foundation, both items that would be detail oriented, meaning next number from the purchase order, right out of your Foundation system, pulls from your same list of vendors and terms. If you get into the inventory module, you're pulling from actual inventory items, you're using cost codes and cost classes. But again, it's all in this web-based environment where it's easier to use. You can store attachments, keep track of emails and correspondence, designing all of your custom forms and templates. So yeah, those are kind of the main types of documents that you come into play with here in Project HQ. And then at the bottom, one more thing here in Project HQ is this section called Collaboration, which kind of like a digital filing cabinet. The first section there called Files, this is where you'd be able to go to see everything that's been saved to this project. It could have been a drawing attached to an RFI. It could have been a PDF handout that's been attached to a purchase order. It could be a signed document that's saved to a change order. You're going to find them all through here. You can also upload documents from here. You can create your own custom folders, like a number of these folders, like GC documents, plan pictures, sheets and drawings, delivery tickets. Those are all just examples of ones I've created over the years here. But so you can basically just create your own organization tree here to kind of store different documents. And then for the mailbox, similar kind of idea. This would just show you all the emails that have been sent or saved regarding this particular job. You can always narrow down by document type, kind of like, this area here, or you can do a keyword search. You can send emails. So that's kind of the idea here with Project HQ. And then the third and kind of final part of our HQ suite is called Executive HQ. This is reporting. So this is going to give your project managers, your operations team, access to how their jobs are doing. It's all the same data that's in Foundation. I guess going with the same theme, it's easier to use, more intuitive. We put in more charts and graphs here to make it a little bit more appealing. But it is all, at the end of the day, all the same dollars, same codes, same hours, all the same reporting data. But this kind of starts at the top with grand total information. And then on the bottom half of the screen is basically a percent complete, over, under, kind of like a WIP schedule, where you can see where your jobs are at and how they're doing, and you can kind of toggle between your different projects. And then if you needed to do, more digging, kind of see more detail, that's where over on the left here, you can drill into a job, and then it's going to pull up a dashboard breaking down different pieces. Like the top line here is basically like that same percent complete report information, but I can drill into it. So I can say, hey, what made up that billings amount? And then I can see the invoices, see the what's been received, retainage, invoice numbers, dates, all that kind of stuff. Or if I wanted to drill into cost classes, there's a chart here to do so. Or same thing with cost codes or change orders on the right. And then at the bottom in the bigger section is kind of just like a nice variance report breaking down things. And if I wanted to drill into this, I can do that and then see all the moving parts and pieces with that too. So that's kind of the Executive HQ part of the system. So all in all, it's a web-based project management platform that integrates directly with your Foundation system, pushing and pulling information back and forth. There's 3 different pieces. Main part, I would say, is Project HQ or document management. And then you have Executive HQ here that's pulled up on my screen, which is reporting. And then there's also Crew HQ, which would be helpful for project scheduling and sending out notifications to your employees. So that is our HQ suite. I appreciate you guys spending some time here this morning kind of walking through this with me. I'll hang on the call here for a few minutes just to make sure there's any questions. And again, if you are interested in hearing more information on this, feel free to reach out to us. I know there's a little questionnaire they put on the webinar. If you'd like us to reach out or schedule a live demo, we can always do something like that too. But yeah, I'll turn it over to you guys and I'll hang tight. Question, does Project HQ allow the PM to add the design team to the system and allow design team to respond to RFIs? So traditionally, this is not designed to be used by outside people from your company. If they're within your company, I would say sure, but for example, I know Procore, you can have like subcontractors log in and fill out documents. That's not how this is designed. This is more of a closed source type of system. You can always limit users based on the job type or the document type, but you wouldn't be able to say, hey, they can only see their documents. And it is user-based pricing. So anybody that logs into this, there's a user fee that would get associated with it. So if they're your own employees, I would say yes, there's a very good chance of that being fine. But yeah, if they're outside employees, outside contacts, traditionally they're not going to be logging into here. And then a question, will you get a recording of this? Yes, even if you just registered, we're going to send out a recording, probably give us a day or two to get it kind of configured and emailed out to you. And then a question, does this work hand in hand with the time clock entry that you saw in another webinar? Kind of. I know that's not a great answer, so let me kind of try to explain. So Foundation software is the main program that we offer, and then we have a number of products that integrate with Foundation. So if you have a mobile app like WorkMax or our mobile field log to collect time, that's going to collect time and then push into your Foundation database. Same idea with HQ here. If you're going to create, say, a change order in Project HQ, it's going to be created here and then push into Foundation. So can you see the time card information here in HQ? You can within Executive HQ. So like here, if I was to drill into a detailed report and I see names and I see hours, those all came from a time card, which came, would have came from a mobile app, but it's not. That's kind of how it ties. It's not like going to go right from a mobile app into HQ. It's going to kind of bounce into Foundation first and then over to here. So I hope that makes sense. And then can the dashboard be customized? No, unfortunately, it cannot. So no customization on that. You can always limit security, but you can't customize it. Kind of back out here too to kind of the main dashboard. Yes, a question, can we create our AIAs from here? Yes, you can, and they would push directly back into the AIA section in Foundation. Nothing posts. It still requires the accounting team to review and actually post. That's kind of where they have a little bit of a checks and balances standpoint. But yeah, it would push information directly into the AIA entry area there. And then a question, is there a place to put bidding info before it turns into a job? Not really. So this isn't really designed to be able to track bids. So that's where from a workflow standpoint, my recommendation is do all of your bid tracking and estimating wherever you're currently doing, and then once it becomes a job, that's when this would come into play. And then a question about our action items. Can they be general or are they connected to a job? They are connected to a job. I guess a workaround would be maybe if you wanted to create a job, just calling it a general, and then you just created action items underneath that general job. Kind of a workaround, because traditionally action items are linked to a specific job or even a specific document within a specific job. But yeah, you can do something there. And another question on the AIA, is it the actual AIA? Yeah, it's the actual form. You're producing it, you're emailing it out. All these documents and forms are all at the actual documents that you're sending out. It's not just information you're keying in. And no integration with DocuSign. So nothing here is going to integrate with DocuSign or anything like that. You'd have to create it here first and then upload it into DocuSign to kind of run it through the course there. And the question, what if you don't have Executive HQ? Can you still see labor detail? No, you cannot. So Executive HQ is the main tool to see job information, detail information. Without that, you're not going to see billings, costs, anything like that. Expand here, so we got some questions coming in. Question about contacts. So if you add contacts here, they do not push back into Foundation. So if it's a contact that's going to be needed on the accounting side, your best workflow is to create it in Foundation first and then have it push over to HQ. And these are all pretty common things that come up during a typical training or implementation of that. So our trainers will kind of talk with you and kind of work you through those kind of different internal scenarios. And yeah, not everything, and this is another question, does everything from a job flow back and forth? No. So the original job information and job budget is going to pull into HQ from Foundation, and then going back the other way would be, I always call them the big four: AIA billings, change orders, purchase orders, and subcontracts. And these are, Crew HQ, Project HQ, and Executive HQ. We call, again, all three of them are considered the HQ suite, but we do offer them independently if you don't need all three. And you do need to have foundation in order for this to operate and to work. So, yeah, you can't really use this all by itself. You could try, but it would not work too well. And a question, just about, comparing this to our old PM module, definitely just, it's easier to use, more intuitive. You can use it on tablets, you can use it on the go, whereas the old PM module, it's old school. It's part of the accounting software, so you got to log in there. A lot of times too, it's more expensive, based on users and cost. So yeah, this is just an overall better, more effective, more efficient, and a lot of times more, cost-friendly option than the old PM module. Then a question about, are you able to make cost to complete projections? So that's kind of where you get into change orders and doing more internal type change orders. So this is where you can always create one of these that adjusts the budget numbers, which effectively changes the estimate to complete on a project. So it's not, we don't have an area you can go in and kind of just plug in a dollar amount or a percent. You got to kind of work with change orders there to do that. All right, I'll just hang on for another moment here, make sure everybody's all set. Question about implementation timelines. Give yourself about a month. 4 to 5 weeks is a good safe bet. All right, everybody, I do appreciate it. You guys have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week, and if you need anything at all, just feel free to reach out. All right, thanks, guys. Bye-bye.